First things first, I'm not wearing a sleeveless hoodie to show off my lack of muscles. No, I am not a gym rat. I'm not one of those guys. It was actually a gift from my grandma, and it's very soft, but the problem is the sleeves did not fit me because I am the height of a short man, but I have the body of like the weight of an 8-year-old. So, therefore, it is now sleeveless. Anyway, so if you want to see my lack of bicep, there they are. So, what is today's thing about? It's actually a speech I've given multiple times since I graduated high school. I have gone back to my old high school 5 times now. So every single semester since, and given kind of a speech, a little presentation about what college is like. And it's interesting because each time I go back, what I talk about changes because every semester I feel like I go through like a different challenge. And I've had like multiple people, like freshmen or like freshmen in college or like seniors in high school, that like kind of ask me why college is tough. And the truth is, whether you go to college or not, those 5-ish years straight out of high school are going to be tough. And the reason isn't like there's not one specific reason. It's just how many things change in your life. So I'm going to kind of give you my story about what changed in my life and why it was difficult for me. Without going into too much personal stuff, just kind of like big idea kind of stuff. We'll try to keep it under, I don't know, the clock's already a minute 30. Wow, and all I've talked about is my biceps. This might be a long one. Anyway, here we go. So, for those of you who don't know, I am from the butt crack of Kentucky. If this was Kentucky, which I guess for you guys it would be that way. But anyway, if this was Kentucky right here, the butt crack of the hand, it would be a hand crack, but I'm going to call it the butt crack. That's where I'm from. And so freshman year of college, I went to Louisville. And the biggest things like I struggled with there are kind of like, first there's that whole thing of, wow, this is a new city. I'm living like by myself. I only knew one person in my dorm. So it was like a huge adjustment for me to be in a big city. But the other thing is I had no idea how to be a student. Like in high school, I got all A's and like really good grades and like good ACT score and stuff. But then I went to college and it was like, you have to be self-disciplined and like you have to do your homework every single day. In my first semester of college, I had no idea how to do any of that. Like I love Grant County. It's not the best education, but I mean, it got me to college, so I appreciate it. But even when my teachers were trying to tell me like, no, you gotta do your homework like right away and you have to be disciplined and don't procrastinate. I was like, you guys went to college like 20 years ago. You have no idea what college is like today. But turns out they were right. So yeah, the biggest struggle, and it's like that for a lot of people. You go to college and like your first week, it's all easy because it's like syllabus week. Then your second week, they come up to you with like packets of homework and they're like, hey, good luck. And it's like, when is this due? Like at the end of the semester, and they're like, oh no, tomorrow. It's like, right on. So yeah, the first struggle a lot of college kids go through is just how to be a student. But if you just kind of do your homework, I always nowadays, because I'm a good student now, I go to the library. I like lock myself basically in the library, and I don't go home until my homework is done. That way, because you have a lot of distractions. Whether you live in a dorm or at home, you're going to have a million distractions there. So do your homework before distractions start. So going into the next semester, so my second college semester, I start like questioning my major and my college because I was never really comfortable in Louisville. But then like when I visited Louisville, I loved the campus. I loved the speed program. That's their engineering program. I was like, oh, I could do this. But like the longer I lived there, the more I kind of missed home. And I didn't think Louisville was really right. And like I liked engineering, but I was like, Louisville's program is difficult. It is tough. And it kind of like shattered my confidence, if that makes sense. So I was like, I started questioning myself a lot. So eventually I decided to transfer. Now I decided to transfer to NKU. At this point, the main struggle has been being a good student. So I kind of like crossed that off the list. I'm now a good student. My grades are going well. But then, as you see after high school, every 6 months, every semester, whatever you want to refer to it as, you kind of have a new challenge. So now it's like, oh, I ran out of all the money that I had built up from high school and after high school. So now I gotta get a new job. So that's like the next stress kind of thing. It's like now you're working and going to school. So that was not really an issue, but it's just the next thing to come up. And then fast forward to the second semester of sophomore year, and I'm only up to 4 and I can't count, so that's not good. But at that point, I'm fine with my job. I'm making like really good grades. I've got so education is good. Got that little category on lock. The job going well, that's on lock. Now I have like friends disappearing, and that's a huge part. My social life was like non-existent, just disappeared all of a sudden. And that was something that I didn't really expect going to college, because in high school, you're always like, oh, we'll be friends forever, and every single senior class is like, oh yeah, we'll stay in touch, never ever like not disappear, but never ever fall apart and stuff. Not really. So at this point, I have friends making horrible decisions, stuff that you can't really be around. If you want to be successful, you have to cut off the people that are weighing you down. And for a while, I really struggled with that, because it's like, it's hard to turn your back. Like, I had friends that, like, really good friends that, like, started selling drugs and doing all this stuff, and it's like, you can't really be around that, because if you get caught up in that, even if you're just by them, and, like, they get in trouble by the police, they're going to think you're guilty, too, just because you're hanging out with that type of person. Or if you get a job interview, and they see pictures of you by a guy that's probably selling drugs, or in jail because he was selling drugs, not the best thing. So you gotta kind of cut people off. Your social life and like who you date and just who you talk to has to kind of change. So eventually I kind of start coming to terms with that, start cutting people off. I mean, I had like a huge circle, but it dwindled down each semester. So junior year starts, I just kind of get down, like I get bummed out by everything. I mean, nothing seems to be going right. It's hard to explain to most people. I'm not going to say I was like depressed or anything, but like just things start wearing you down. Like at this point, I'm making Dean's List. I'm on Dean's List, which is like all A honor roll kind of thing at high school. But it's just stress is kind of eating me away. I quit my job that way. I don't have to put up with it because I had enough money to where I didn't need a job. My friends list is still shrinking, but I still have people around me. I was just kind of bummed, just kind of down. It's hard to explain, but everybody kind of hits that wall at some point, I think, where you just have so much going on and you're always like going nonstop to where you just get burnt out. So that was kind of something new I had to deal with. Had to deal with just kind of not being myself. So then, fast forward to this semester, I get a new job. More money. That's always good. And I'm kind of, I have new friends. I figured out the whole friends thing. I don't need a million friends. I just need people that are really there for me. And then the only things really worrying me now are like co-ops. That's a big stressor later in your college career, because you have thousands of kids in your area, college kids, trying to get co-ops, and there's not that many. So whatever your major is, you got, like, we have to have a co-op to graduate at NKU. Well, specifically my major, but that's just kind of another thing to stress about. It's like, oh great, I have a job, I have to go get one that is a specific type of job. It's not too big of a stressor, but it's just another thing adding on the plate. But like I said, each little section, like freshman year, the struggle was I didn't know how to be a student, so I checked that off. Sophomore year, it was like, okay, I have friends kind of shuffling around. I also need a job. Get both of those, check those off. Junior year, it's like, oh, I'm down. But then I kind of learned how to pick myself back up. So check that one off. And each one, I think that's the most important thing, is those few years after high school is you gotta be able to pick yourself up. You gotta be able to kind of see the finish line. And what I mean is, freshman year, I was like, oh my gosh, graduation is like 4 years away. I'm never gonna make it that far. Sophomore year, I was like, oh my gosh, like now I have a job to do. Like I have to worry about making money and then also going to school, and it's just like so far away. And you will always hit a wall where you want to quit, no matter what it is. And it's one of those things where you could be getting all A's in college. But still, you're going to have 1 week where you have a test in every class, you have papers due in every class, and you're just going to like look at your friend and be like, hey, I'm gone, see ya, drop it out. And I don't think I ever expected that to happen to me, because in high school I got really good grades. But yeah, you'll hit that wall, and it's important just to keep pushing through. People are like, well, college is going to be difficult. A lot of people don't go to college because they think it's going to be difficult. And yeah, it is. Like, of course, they're not going to give you a degree for taking the same English you took since freshman year of high school. Like, no, they're not going to give you a degree for that. But it's basically how much you can push through. How far do you want to push to get that degree? You know, a lot of people go 1 or 2 years of college and then they just drop out. Like, after being halfway through, why are you going to drop out? I know people that drop out like junior year. It's like you're so close, but they just don't have enough in them to keep pushing. So whenever you hit that wall, you have to keep pushing. Also, around junior year, there's this moment where, like, you're talking to an advisor or a classmate or something. They're like, when do you graduate? And you're like, oh, a year from now. Then you're like, holy crap, like a year from now. A year from now, you got the thing that you've been studying and working for since you were 6, 7 years old. Like, you start school, you're that close to being done with school. And it's a really rewarding feeling just to know that, like, you're so close to it. And I think that's, like, you can say that about anything, not only college, but if you work for it, like, when it's right around the corner and you're almost there, it's almost like you start working harder. Like, I know this year, my goal is to make Dean's List again, just because it's like I can see the finish line. I'm sprinting for it. So, yeah, a few people had told me they were stressing about college, and so I hope this helps a little bit. Don't be overwhelmed by how much you'll change or how much goes on. It's just one of those things where each part of your life, whatever's important to you, it's going to change in some way. You just got to kind of fix it and roll with it. Just keep pushing through. So, yeah, I'm not going to go into details about college. Like, people want to know about federal aid, and I've had people ask me about like FAFSA and scholarships and stuff, because that's different for everyone. But yeah, whatever you go through, just keep pushing. Especially pregnancy. Push and you'll bring some child into this world. Also, not gonna lie, my bicep looks kind of weird. I don't have a muscle, it's just straight shoulder. Also, look at all these pictures, they keep growing. Keep getting more and more pictures every single one of these videos. That's awesome. Alright, 13 minutes, right? I'm gonna stop it on the clock. Toodaloo!